you may be given in IELTS task 1, writing task 1, and it's not that common, but you have to be a little ready for that, because you may be given a diagram. So here we have the material. I wrote this material. I prepared this before I started the video, so that it doesn't take a lot of time, and I can put everything that we need, everything that I need you to read about, to learn about writing task 1. So this is how to describe a diagram. So there are different types of diagrams. I mean, as you can see here, we have a diagram. It's the process diagram, which means there is a process, and we need to define this process. Like, we need to write sentences and show how the process goes around. Except this, I downloaded different types of samples of what actually our diagrams are. The process diagrams shows a process where multiple objects are depicted in the pictures, so you can see them and you can understand what is actually going on in the picture. As you can see, here we have pictures, and it mostly happens like this, like it starts from here and ends in here. And all in many cases, there is an arrow indicating the flows and ends up. Okay, so I'll go back. Well, Necə, since I'm using a screen recorder app, sometimes there's a problem recording the the screen. It's okay. It's okay for now. Whatever. Let's go back to our class. So let me just open the file. All right. So here, as we said before, we're going to describe a diagram, and I showed you a couple diagrams. Different samples of how a diagram looks like, how a process diagram looks like. So listen to me carefully, and so I'll explain you what it is. I explain you how to write it. I'll show you the example, the sample band 8 or 9 sample for this one, of how I write it, or how you have to write it. So let's do it. So as it's written on the screen, in this lesson we're going to learn to describe a diagram in IELTS Writing Task 1. We will deal with a process diagram, and actually diagrams are not that common in IELTS exam, but you can be given one. So actually I was given one once I took the IELTS exam for the first time. My task 1 question was a diagram. So it's a good idea to learn how to structure your answer when describing a diagram. Actually, there are many kinds of diagrams that you can be given to write an IELTS writing task 1. So basically, this kind of diagrams shows a process going on in a picture, just like here, as you can see, there's a process going on. So what you have to do, you have to define the process. You have to describe the process with your own words. Now let's learn how to describe and convert the process into sentences. So as I said before, sorry for this line here. As I said before, this is a band 9, a band 8, task 1 sample test. So before you start all sort of diagram tests, any sort of diagram tests, what you have to do, you have to examine the question card and the diagram itself. So here we have a question card, as you can see, and the question card is about what diagram talks about, like what diagram shows. That's the question saying here. So let's read the question card. It says the diagram illustrates how steel rods are manufactured in the furniture industry. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparison where relevant. So it's a question card, and as I said before, question card is all about what the diagram talks about, right? And here we have, so before you start writing or examining your writing your diagram essay, it's better that you make yourself familiar with the question and the diagram itself. As you can see, here is a process. So there are some stages going on in this process. This stage, this stage, this stage. And each stage has its own additional information, as you can see. We're going to focus on additional information, but we don't need it now. So first thing first, let's take a closer look at our question card. So it says, illustrates how steel rods are manufactured in the furniture industry. So here, the process is about manufacturing steel rods, okay? And it's okay if we don't know what's a steel rod, or if you don't know any word in the meaning of any word within the diagram. You don't need to know all the words shown in the diagram. You just have to describe the process with your own words. So generally, there are stages in the diagram. As I said before, here we have three processes here, and we have in the first process we have four stages: raw material, melting, refinement, ingot, pour. In the second process we have also four stages: strand casting, rolling, heat treatment, surface check. In the process we have three stages: sizing, ID stamping, and inspection. So this is how we examine the process. So actually, whatever you're going to write in your essay, I mean, the paragraphs should be divided by you. Like, you should look at the process and divide how many paragraphs you're going to write. Right? All right, so yeah, that's we said that we have to write the stages and what stages are included in the process and how it happens. So we have to write all these things. Secondly, let's look at the process diagram. So as we said before, each process consists of several stages. So whatever I said, you can see the writing form here. Okay. And but what you have to find where it starts and where it ends. As you can see, it starts here in raw material, finishes here in inspection. Okay, beginning with the raw material and ending up with inspection. So those, as you can see, there are arrows, and as I said before, there are arrows. There are arrows showing that how the process continues. So in almost all the diagrams, you can see the arrows, and you can just find out that how you can start, what is the first one, what is the last one. So actually the diagrams, the process diagram, is a lot different than bar chart or pie chart. It doesn't have a percentage, it doesn't have any specific year or anything else that we have learned before. But a diagram process have other additional information. It's a process that you just have to mention what is going on in the process. So, and additional information, as you can see, where each stage has additional information. Almost each stage has an additional information, exclusive of the last two. And you have to use the additional information for filling your sentences. So yeah, and I wrote that here as well. This diagram has a lot of additional information that you can take a close look. For now, we'll focus on later. You start writing your diagram essay, and after examining your question card and your diagram, then you have to ask this question to yourself: is the process cyclic? I mean, it means that is it coming back to starts here and it comes back to here. Okay, that means cyclic, like starts here and here, comes to the beginning again. It's the cyclic, continuous loop. Okay, so are there any loops or repeating stages, which means that one stage in the process happens a second time, so it's a repeating stage, and things happen at the same time. ask these questions because these questions are clues. I mean, these questions are another information, another additional information that may help you to fill your sentences and to give full information about your process diagram. Okay, so in the last two IELTS Task 1 essays, we mentioned that the structure for higher score for Band 8, Band 7, Band 9, the structure of the essay should be like this: introduction, overview, features, and specific features. So feature 1, feature 2, feature 3. Features means paragraphs, but featuring the paragraphs. Okay, so introduction, as we said before, it's your first paragraph, and you introduce the readers in the introduction paragraph, which means that you paraphrase your question. We talked about this before, and I sent you I actually sent you a Word file of how to paraphrase a sentence. But next class, I'm going to teach you how to paraphrase an object because it's the most important one to find out, to learn. Okay, because it will help you to paraphrase your sentences in right order, and it will beautify your paraphrasing. But please repeat a paraphrase. Here you have useful information, useful, and do what I say. Okay, I'll go there very soon. So introduction, your first paragraph, and you introduce the graph to the readers. And second paragraph is the general overview, where you describe general features, not the specific features, only the general features. Actually, they are the writing task 1 assessment criteria, which means for this assessment, you're going to be given a score. Let's right, yeah. So please check this full information from here, useful things that you read, and follow the useful link. Okay. The same, I mean, the structure of the essay is the same, and do not write your own opinion. You have to describe only what's in the diagram. You have to describe it technically. Do not include any literature in your essay, and do not give a conclusion to your essay. So now we'll take a look at each part, and we'll give the answer together. So introduction. So we have the question card, and we have the diagram, and we've already met what the question, and we've already met the diagram. We've analyzed the diagram, and we've seen that there's a process and stages. Actually, there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stages we have there. And what we are asked is the diagram illustrates how still roads are manufactured in the furniture industry. Introduction. First paragraph of your answer is an introduction that we said it before, and for the introduction you need to paraphrase the topic in your own words. Just write 1-2 sentences to say what your graph shows and for what period of time, actually, if there is one. So there's no period of time in the diagram, process diagram, but what you have to do, you need to paraphrase the topic. The question with your own words, like this one. You know it already. So let's do it. And here we have useful information. We have been talked about paraphrasing in our previous classes. If you're not familiar of how to paraphrase, please check that article. I'm going to write the article name here so you can check it. And we actually have learned a couple other ways of paraphrasing the sentence, but next class I'm going to teach you how to paraphrase the object with using different ways. Okay, that's very important. So next class, I'm going to send you that video, and along with your other task 1 essay, whatever. So okay, here is my paraphrasing of this question. There are 2 options I read here that are here, and the first option is this one. So I told you before that the name, diagram, table, bar, pie chart, bar chart, and all this question names, these are stable. is these are not flexible. You cannot change the diagram with its synonym. You cannot change the pie chart with its synonym. It's useless. So you always keep the question name, the diagram, pie chart, bar chart, how it is. Okay, and the diagram, what I did, I changed the word illustrates with explains, or you can say it shows, or you can say illustrate. I mean, instead of illustrate, you can say depicts, and other you can say demonstrates. You know, and many other synonyms you can use for that. So to paraphrase, there's another useful information. Check the article of different ways to change the structure of your question. I've also sent it to you. Please read that too. And as a third one, since the paraphrasing of an object is an essential, check the article as well, please. For the paraphrasing of an object, I haven't sent you that article, but I'll send you that article. And I'll teach you that in next class, so you don't need to look for this one. This one in the first useful act. Actually, there was an option 2, but I don't know where it goes. Maybe it's been deleted. So forget about this option 2. So yeah, so explains, it always can be, I mean, the verb of your question always can be paraphrased and always should be paraphrased. Change the verb. I sent you the linking words. I sent you the or link words, whatever they call. Use those link words, and they're also the synonyms of the words that you can use in your task 1. So please read that, and so that it can help you with your texts. And also, when it comes to the object, actually, I'm going to teach you in the next class that you can use it for any sort of task 1 or task 2 IELTS. As you can see here, it was steel roads are manufactured. It is an object, starting with VH question. It says question word. Okay, I'm going to send you this. Okay, so that's how I changed it. I used the way in which steel roads are produced. So you can change how with in which or the other stuff. That is the next lesson. I'm going to teach you this, and it's very, very important for paraphrasing your object. Here I have object paraphrasing. For the next class, for the next essay that you're going to write, a sample essay for me, you can use whatever you want, whatever way you know. I will teach you how to paraphrase an object just like this. For the furniture industry, so I don't have a better option for the furniture industry, so I just keep it like that. And you don't need to paraphrase all the words that you have in your question card. If you know a better option, use it. If you don't know it, just keep it like that. What actually must be paraphrased is the verb and the object in the question card. After this, and you know this introduction must be 1 or 2, maximum 2 sentences, not too long, not too short, just the paraphrasing of the sentence. And so next the following step of writing task 1 process diagram, of course, according to the structure, is overview. So I will send you a video explaining how I am going to evaluate your essays, how I'm going to give scores to your essay using the assessment of task 1. So in the assessment of task 1, it says that there must be an overview if you want to get higher than 7 score or 6.5 score. So overview must be there. Overview has to be the second paragraph of task 1 IELTS writing. So introduction, you should give a general overview to summarize what's going on in the diagram. Unlike line graphs, pie charts, and bar charts, diagrams have no general trends. Just like I said before, it doesn't have percentage, it doesn't have years, it doesn't have other general trends or key chains to identify. The stages of the process. So stages of the process actually belong to features. overview is what generally what this diagram talks about. So overview paragraph, you need to write how the process begins and ends. And you have to write, for example, in this case, in this sample, it starts with raw material and it ends with inspection. Stages are there for the second question. It must be how many stages are there? As we counted before, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stages that this process includes. And yeah, we counted out the stages, and also if the diagram has loops, repeating stages, or your process is cyclic, in your own overview too. So you these questions just to mention in your overview, and which means that you can make it a little longer, your overview a little longer. So let's write the overview for this question, and your overview as per the rule of the IELTS task 1, and just like how we did it in the previous tasks, start with the word overall. It must be like this. And this is the structure of how a diagram, process diagram, overall paragraph starts. So the process consists of, which means any number. You have to mention, firstly you have to mention how many, or you can say there are 11 stages, or you can say the process consists of 11 stages. You can say it like that, beginning with something and ending up with the first last stage will be here. Next time you write a diagram, then you have to use this sentence as an overall start. So here we go. Overall, the process consists of 11 stages, as we counted back before. Beginning with the raw material, as you can see, start with the raw material, ending up with inspection, and ending up with inspection. Here we go. Inspection. But do we have any loops or repeating stages or cyclic process? No, we don't have any loops, repeating stages. There's only one of each, and there's no a cyclic process. It does not start here and ends up here. It starts here and ends up here in the last stage. So we gave an overview. So what you should do, you should just follow this structure. You should write this sentence in your structure. So never write numbers as numbers. There's another useful message that I give to you. Never write numbers as numbers, which means like don't write 5, 10, or 15 like this. Write it in words. 5, 10, 15. Do not write numbers in your essay. And always use the word overall to start your overview, and this way you will indicate the examiner that you're describing general trends. This should be 1 or 2 sentences maximum, and keep it short and simple. That's how we write the introduction, by paraphrasing the question and overview, following this rule. The process consists of the number of stages and how it starts, where it starts, and where it ends. And the next paragraph, according to the structure, is the specific feature. Where you the features, you can write features, which means details, in different paragraphs. So every time you see a diagram, just divide the process in 3 stages. For example, we'll divide this process like we have the first process. It contains 4 stages. Second process, it contains 4 stages, and the process, it contains the last 3 stages. So let's look at this now. Let's write the specific features. I also wrote it here, so read them all. After you've given the overview, you should write about specific details of your diagram. To do that, you need to describe each stage of your process in detail. Some additional information. Remember, I told you there are additional information in the picture. For example, here we have raw material stage, and there is another additional, for example, iron ore, yellow ore, and carbon is additional information, or additional information for the stage 1. Okay, and yeah, so unlike tables, diagrams have no general trends. We said it before, it doesn't have percentages, it doesn't have years, it doesn't have those things. It does only have the stages of a process. Okay, you can specify your paragraph. You can specify the features of your diagram into particular 2-3 paragraphs, but make sure that you provide information in a logical way, which means coherence, and you have to follow the rule of coherence and cohesion, which means your sentences must follow each other. So you should start with the first stage and you should end up with the last stage. You cannot start with the 5th stage and go back to 3rd stage and finish it in the 1st stage. That's why at the beginning of the IELTS diagram, you should analyze your diagram. You should find which stage is the first one and which stage is the last one, and how it continues and how it ends. So here we have the possible way describing the specific features of our diagram. So there are 3 paragraphs I'm going to write, as you can see, 1, 2, and 3. 1 is small, and I'm going to write 204 words. I mean, more than 200 words. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to write. It has 4 stages, as we said before. Stage number 1, stage number 2, stage number 3, stage number 4. And as you can see, I want to actually show you both at the same time. Let me just copy it. Copy this. Okay, so we can see, so that we can see the diagram itself. And actually, I have the diagram here, but I'll do it like this. Okay, I'm gonna open up another file, and it's here. Right. So we have written the sentence and overall sentence, and now it's time to talk about the process. So let's look at the first stage. That's how I wrote it. Here the first stage is the raw material. It has it has additional information, 1 additional information. This here contains iron ore, yellow ore, and carbon. As we can see, some materials inside, and these are raw materials. These are the raw materials that metal, or let's say a bucket, contains. So I'm going to write it like this. First of all is the linking words. You must have to use linking words, because linking words are very important for each sort of tasks in IELTS. So make sure that you have all the linking words. Actually, these are called, I have the materials sent to you, and I actually attached here as well. Connectors, time connectors. First of all, second of all, and I'll show you next. Later, I'll show you this. Actually, let me show you it first. So we have, first of all, here. This is the first connector. First of all, iron ore, yellow ore, as you can see, and carbon are collected to serve as a raw material for steel roads manufacturing. So iron ore, yellow ore, carbon are collected, or are put, but you can say, or are carried, you can say, as a raw material. Raw material, I mentioned stage name, and you have to mention the additional. You just have to put them in 1 sentence and describe them. Okay. Iron ore, yellow ore, and carbon are collected, serve as a raw material, which means, to play as a role of a raw material, to serve as a raw material for steel roads manufacturing. We already have this word. Okay, so this is the first stage. We have put it into sentences, the first stage. So the second stage is, it's another connector for linking words. After that, the second stage starts. So I'm gonna describe the second stage like this. The raw material is so let's read first. The raw material is in a melting fleet. So this is the melting fleet. Raw material is here, fleet, and here is already melted, and this stage is called melt. Temperature 1,300, between 1,300 and 1,500 Celsius. This is in a sentence. After they're carried, after they carried or collected, serve. So they're going into the stage of melting. So the raw material in a melting fleet. Simply mention. So I describe the process with the first additional information. Now I'm going to put the second additional information. I'll attach it to my first sentence, where it is heated to a temperature in range of 1,300 and 1,500 Celsius. This is my second stage. It's very simple. You just have to put the words and additional information in the sentence and describe it just like that. Okay. So, and there we have smelting cabin and additional information. So there we have the which is called refinement, and we have additional information called smelting cabin. So even I don't know what's smelting. You don't need to know what is smelting or what is iron ore or what is ingot. Okay, what to do, just put it in the sentences and describe it with your own words. I mean, connect it in the sentences. So refinement, I do know what's refinement. It's a refinement. It's a smelting cabin. As you can see, the melted. So here we go. You have melted mass, melted material, or melted mass means like, you know, the whole of it. Melted mass is then have another connector. You can write it here, and you can add the beginning of the sentence. For smelting cabin, for to a smelting, or you can say be poured into a smelting cabin. But since here we have the word pour, I'm going to say transfer to a smelting cabin to refinement. Here we go. We have the word. Here goes a very useful word for the task 1 IELTS, because if you want to say something, experience something, and you cannot like put it in a sentence because you don't know many words, you just have to use undergo. Undergo yani yaşamak, yani keçdi o mərhələdən. Undergo refinement. To undergo refinement. Okay, that's the stage number 3. And next is another connector, another linking word. Next is the fourth stage. So fourth stage is called ingot pour. And here we have two additional information. Metal is poured into ingots. Pouring machine. Here we have a pouring machine. Condensed metal is poured into ingots. So next, the condensed metal put. Let's change this. Pour in a pouring machine. Poured into ingots. That's that simple. That's the first stage. So I completed the first paragraph, which includes 4 stages and 1 process. Now I'm going to write the second stage using another paragraph. In the next stage, this is another connector. As you can see, this is another connector that we have here. In the next stage, the ingots are, okay, here we go. So the next stage is called strand casting. We have 2 additional information, actually 3 of them. Metal goes through nozzles. These are nozzles. And ingots are connected to a cooling reservoir. Temperature is 60 and 100 degrees. You just have to connect the sentences. That's it. Here we go. Writing that metal goes through nozzles. Special nozzles. I had the word special nozzles. And cools down. Okay. Because it says it goes to a cooling reservoir. You can write the sentence as how it's, you know, how you understand it. Just make sure that you understand the process before you write the sentence. You don't need to change the order of the sentences. Okay. The metal goes through special noses and cools down. Okay, goes to special notes and cools down. It's not the paragraph, it's just something that I drew before. Forming strands. Okay, and following this, so here we have a cooling reserve here, and we don't need to write this. You can even write this. You can say that metal ingots that are connected to a cooling reservoir under a temperature of 100 degrees cools down and forming strands. You can also do this. Then it will be more than 250 words. So you don't need to keep it too long. You have to keep it short, and that's why you have to mention the specific features of your diagram. The next step is rolling. As you can see, we have following this is another connector. Following this, the metal stands. Here we go. Metal stands. Stands of cooled metal. Metal strands proceed to rollers. Proceed means to the rollers that change their shape. Okay, here you can see their shapes have changed. The heating machines, the heat treatment. Rolling, the roller, it squeezes the material and change their shape. How I wrote it. The metal strands proceed to rollers that change their shape. Next is another connector. Next, the products are put into a heating machine. The products are put into a heating machine, and where they undergo a heat treatment. Heating machine, heat treatment. So, as I said before, you have to mention the name of. I'll go back to there now after a few seconds. Okay. Yeah. Undergo a heat treatment. Undergo here. I don't have any word. I don't know how to connect it. How to make a sentence out of this. I use the word undergo. Subsequently, next, this is another connector. A measuring automaton. Measuring automaton. I mentioned the additional information. Completes a surface check of the products. Complete the surface check of the products. That's how it goes. That's how I describe your process. So everything that you need to know, you just have to find the right word. You just have to understand the process and put it into sentences. Finally, their third process, which includes 3 stages. Stage number 9, 10, 11. There are 11 stages. After that, it's another connector. After that, metal rods are sized by cutters. Sizing, which means they are going to be cut. They're cut and their size are reduced. Metal rods are sized by special cutters. The stamp, I connected sentences together by getting an ID stamp. And finally, another connector. The products undergo again in. I don't know what to write. I don't know how to describe. Just say undergo inspection. Are ready for use. Well, as you can see, we have completed this sample test together, which means that we have over 200 words to describe this process, which is very easy. As you can see, there are a lot of information that you need to put in your sentences. You just need a bit of grammar, a bit of vocabulary power to finish it off. And this is a band 9, band 8, band 9 IELTS writing, by the way. You don't need to be this professional if you are aiming to get 7 band or 6 band. Okay? But if you want to get a higher score, you have to write, and overall, you have to use connectors for each sentence because it's a process following each other. So you have to know how many following sentences you have used. Okay, so here I had different types of connectors. I actually sent you a file called additionals. In additionals files, which means they're linking verbs. Check the linking words and learn them. Learn the linking verbs and use as much as you can, especially in IELTS Task 1 essays. So we go first of all begin. After that, I'll send you more. You have the linking words file, so please check it and study that. Well, let's go back here. So we saw the sample essay as a whole. And here I have third stage, I have third paragraphs. After you examining your diagram, make sure that you divide them into different paragraphs, just like the way for example, I mean, let's take a look at this. Samples of the diagram. Here's another question. Okay, and as you can see, there is a process. So if you're not sure how to divide them, how to put them into paragraphs, then follow my instruction. So here we go. It says diagram below shows the stages in the recycling of aluminum drink cans. Okay, so it's a recycling. So, remember I told you, is your diagram is cyclic? So we'll actually do one of these in our next classes to mention that this process is cyclic, or any stage is cyclic in our overall. Okay, so here we go, collection center and recycling center. That's how I'm going to put in, divide my ideas into paragraphs. So in this one, in the previous one, we have, in this one, we've said wait a minute. Here we have we've divided into three paragraphs by taking the first four stages into one, second four stages into two, and the third four stages into three. And you can do it independently. There's no rule for that, for doing that. It's just me telling you that it will be better if you use that way. Let's take a look at this process. Here we go. Collection center, recycling center. Okay, and we have, so it goes like I told you before. Check the arrows. Check the arrows first. See how the process goes. Okay, as you can see, there's a recycling bin, and the cans are collected here, and it's transferred to the factories using a machine, using a truck. Okay, and then there's an aluminum recycling plant. I would write two paragraphs for this. First, I would write this. Second, I would write this. First, I would write this, and second, I would write this. In the first paragraph, I would mention this. In the second paragraph, I would mention this. It doesn't matter that it doesn't matter that it's not a rule that you have to divide your you have to put your ideas into different paragraphs. I mean, they're features. We call them features. Okay, feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, which means paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. You can write all your ideas only in one paragraph. It's okay, but if it's too long, make sure that it's clear that you write it into two paragraphs and use the linking verbs as much as you can. So here we have another example I want to show you how you can divide it into paragraphs. Here we go. The diagrams below show the stages and equipment used in the cement making process and how cement is used to produce concrete for building purposes. That's it. We have two paragraphs. It's shown. The cement production is the first paragraph, and the concrete production is the second paragraph. I mean, the picture tells you everything. I think I have one more of it. Here we go. The diagram illustrates the process that is used to manufacture bricks for the building industry. So how many paragraphs you can write? Of course, there's 1, 2, 3, or if it's too short, you can make it 3, no problem. 1, 2, 3, or 1 or 2, you can combine them together. Doesn't matter. No one will cut your score because of this. But if you find it hard to put in your paragraphs, then just look at the picture and see that there's a line of process. It's the paragraph first, the second line of process is the paragraph 2, and the third line of process is paragraph 3. So please be careful about the arrows and look how they go and how the process continues. Make sure that you're completely understood before you write the stage. Make sure that you understood them correctly, and then put it into your sentences. Well, yeah, that's all about about the diagrams. So I was going to teach you the table today as well, but I decided we should work on this. We should repeat the previous two pie charts and bar charts again. We should repeat them, and we should write samples for them, and especially for this diagram. Next class, I'm going to write another sample for you. I'm going to explain it to you again. I'm going to explain it how to paraphrase object in your writing. It's a very, very, very important. And for the next class, I'm going to give you some extra assignments. Well, as I said before, I'm trying to keep this video as short as I can, but it's already 50 minutes, I think, but it's okay. So please first read this. Okay, there's no Azeri version. I think you can understand. I wrote it easier. Okay, read it and try to understand it, and watch the video. This video, I'm recording it for you. Watch it again. If you understand, make questions and ask me. Make videos and ask me. I don't know, whatever way you use, just use and ask me. And make sure that you have complete all the assignments that I give it to you. Please do not wait too long to complete your assignment, because our next class is going to be on Friday. So I'm going to give you an assignment where you have to write an essay for the diagram. So please write the diagram, do your homework, and send it back to me through email with your questions. And if you have questions that are urgently be explained, then please forward them to me. That I'll explain it to you in a video and I'll send it to you. There's another video that I'm going to send you now, which is about how I'm going to evaluate your essay, which means how I'm going to give you a band score. What criteria I'm going to ask from you to write in your IELTS task 1 to score it. And please watch that and understand it as well. And also repeat the previous classes. Repeat what you should write, what you shouldn't write in IELTS task 1. Remember, I told you that there must be more than 150 words. There must be cohesion. There must be good grammar, vocabulary. IELTS task 1 is easier than task 2. It's very easy. You just have to write many samples and finish it. Also, in the mail attached to your, there's a syllabus of your classes attached to this email. Please check that too and read how long our preparation will continue and what we're going to learn when and how we're going to learn them. You'll find all the answers there. And please be communicative. Send me your voices, send me your questions, and just tell me what you need. So our next class is going to be on Friday, maximum on Saturday, and next week we'll complete task 1. Okay, my friend? Have good luck. Please work with me and have fun. Bye-bye.